Yes, members, you are most welcome once again. I am here. I am so proud of everyone who is watching and subscribing on my channel. You are doing an excellent job. I told you that as long as you are with me, we shall always find mathematics very easy. The campaign is that we need this subject simplified. Some of us like complicating things. Some of us complicate the content in the subject. You want to exaggerate everything. But I want to tell you that mathematics is very free and fair as long as you understand the concept and you interpret the content very well. So I don't want anyone to be mistaken. I don't want anyone to mistake it, but we want to move together. Now, I told you that the whole of this week we are looking at application in our daily lives. Just the way we always do things, that's what we mean that mathematics, the trend it's now taking, is all about application. We want to see how mathematics can be applied in our daily lives. Those questions which involve full of application and clear interpretation. Now, here we are, still under application of algebra. That is where we are. Application, here in bracket, we are still on algebra. Algebra, very important. Musa is 54 years. We are talking about age. Now, around you there, you can change his name. If near you have somebody called the Isaac, you can change to Isaac. Then yourself, if you are Jane, you can change Ismail to Jane. Then you bring it to real life situation. You compare yourselves, everything will be fine. So Musa is 54 years. Musa is 54 years. And Ismail is 40 years. I hope we are together. Musa is 54 years and Ismail is 40 years. Yes, that one we can't take time to write it there. Musa equals to, okay, we can say Musa is 54 years now. Because the context they have used here is now tense. Musa is 54 years. That means right now is. If I say that boy is coming, it means it is happening now. So Musa is 54 years. That is right now. And Ismail is 40 years. Ismail is. That is right now. Ismail is 40 years now. These are their ages right now. Musa is 54 years. Ismail is 40 years. Very good. So we are now moving on slowly. That's the first interpret. I told you that when you are answering questions about application of algebra, we move phase by phase, step by step. That is it. How many years ago? This is where we are. This is where we are. How many years ago? That is past. Something which moved a long time. Past tense now. How many years ago was Musa 3 times as old as Ismail? How many years ago? Meaning that if they're asking you that if you go backwards, how many years will you move backwards to make sure that by that time Musa was 3 times. Musa was 3 times as old as Ismail. How many years ago was Musa 3 times as old as Ismail? That means if we have Musa's age right now as 54 years, Ismail is 40 years now. How many years ago? How many years ago? They're asking us the number of years which have passed when Musa was 3 times. How to get 3 times? Meaning that by that time, to get Musa's age, after knowing Ismail's age, you are supposed to multiply Ismail's age by 3 to get Musa's age. By then, for example, we can say if Ismail was 4 years, that means Musa was supposed to be 4 times 3 to make 12. But what do we do to get those number of years ago to make this one appear 3 times as old as Ismail? We are going on. Very simple concept, and we are to see. So, how many years ago? We don't know, but we can let the number of years ago be represented by letter P. How many years ago? We don't know. But remember those years ago, they are saying that Musa was 3 times as old as Ismail. How many years ago? So today we are here. We want to see those numbers of years ago. Yes, Musa. Now, if we say the number of years ago, let them be represented by letter P. That means Musa, by that time, Musa, who is now 54 years. When we are going backwards, how many years ago? That means we are subtracting backward. By that time, Musa was 54 minus P. Then, those number of P years ago, by that time also, Ismail was 40 minus P. I hope we are moving on. Right now, Ismail is 40 years. Musa is 54 years. So we are saying that how many years ago? So those number of years ago have numbers that have passed. For you to get what has passed, you move backwards. So that is subtraction. You remove. You keep removing. So we are removing years from this one. That's why we want to remove the number of years ago from this one. Years ago, we are removing. If they said how many years to come, we would be adding. But now this one, something that has passed, we shall be removing from what they already have right now. That's what I'm explaining here. I want us to be very clear that Musa is 54 years now, Ismail is 40 years now. How many years ago? Let the number of years ago be represented by letter P, so that we can remove P from from Musa's age now, and P from Ismail's age now. They will move backwards. What happened in that year? That how many years ago was Musa 3 times as old as Ismail? How many years ago was Musa 3 times as? That means that period, Musa's age, which was 54 minus P, was equivalent or was equals to 3 times the age of Ismail. I know this one may confuse you, but they are saying that how many years ago? We have already done this first part. I think you have understood it. Then, in that period, Musa was 3 times. Musa was 3 times. That means his age, for you to get Musa's age by then, was 3 times Ismail's age. We don't put 3 on Musa. We put it on Ismail. Why? Because the age of Musa, to be got by that time, you're supposed to multiply Ismail's age 3 times. That means the age of Musa was 3 times the age of Ismail. You're supposed to multiply the age of Ismail 3 times. The age of Musa was 3 times the age of Ismail by then. So it is this, and you put it in the bracket. When you don't put the bracket, remember this is taken as one term. 40 minus P was 1 age, 1 term. I call it 1 term, but it was only 1 person's age. There are not 2 things. That was Ismail's age by that time. So 54, we now deal with other things. 54, you multiply everything in the brackets by 3 minus 3 times P. So this is 54 minus P equals 3 times 40 is 120 minus 3 times P, which is 3P. So we can collect like terms here. We can remain with negative P. Okay, it's okay. We can move like this. 54 minus P equals to 120 minus 54 minus 3P. 54 minus 54 is 0 minus P equals to 120 minus 54. What do you get? We get 66 minus 3P. So this is negative P. You bring this negative 3P this way, it will become positive minus 3P equals to 66 minus 3p plus 3p. So we can bring it here. After this, negative p plus 3p is 2p. You bring 3p first, minus p equals to 66 plus 0. So this is 2p equals to 66 divided by 2 divided by 2. P equals to, by 2 1, by 2 3, here 3. So we have 33 here. So what was this p? Remember we said let the number of years ago be represented by letter p. So it was 33 years ago. It was 33 years ago, because I said how many years ago was Musa 3 times as old as Ismail. You can prove. You can write your proof here. You can try to see 54 minus 33. 54 minus 33, you get 21. Then for Ismail, you can have 40 minus 33, you will get 7. Now you see, when you multiply 7 by 3, do you get 21? That is the question. If you get 21, you are 100% right, because Ismail, whom we are talking about, was a third Musa's age, or Musa was 3 times Musa's age. I mean, Musa was 3 times Ismail's age. So by that time, Ismail was 7 years and Musa was 21 years. Now 7 years multiplied by 3, you still get 21. Meaning that that's why I tell you that mathematics is very interesting. Eh? You calculate without doubting your answer. You even live knowing that you have passed that number without any problem. So these are calculations that involve us to be just very active. You can easily do them and nothing can happen. This question can also be asked with part B, as I've done it here, that how old was each of them then? How old was each of them then? Or by that time, that was 33 years ago. This is what you will calculate. Or they can ask how old was Ismail by then? You also calculate only his age. It's all about interpretation. I told you that these are simple questions. I want us to keep practicing. They look very complicated, but when you move slowly, when you handle it well, it becomes very nice to answer. Actually, these are questions that when you master them, just know that now you are about to make it to be a senior mathematician, because they are the questions which involve a lot of thinking, and the moment you begin thinking them well, it makes these other questions too easy for you, because all about interpretation. Maybe to read for the question again, Musa is 54 years old and Ismail is 40 years old. Right now, how many years ago? Remember, we said how many years ago? Something that has passed, so we subtract. We don't know the number of years. We can let them be represented by any letter. Me, I've chosen P. You can choose any other, and then you represent it there. Then you subtract. I want to emphasize right back here that when they say how many years ago was Musa 3 times as old as Ismail, Musa was 3 times as old as Ismail. That interpretation is that by that time, for you to get Musa's age, you are supposed to multiply Ismail's age by 3. That's why we're putting 3 on Ismail. We're multiplying. And this one, we put in the bracket because if we don't put the bracket, we shall just end up multiplying 3 times 40, which is not right. Because 40 minus P is 1 term. It's considered as 1 term. Remember, this is that person's age at that time. This is Ismail's age by that time. Then 54 minus P is Musa's age by that time. That is simple interpretation. And you will answer that question, which is going to appear right there, and everything will be all right. May God bless you. That question, you move on it slowly. I know you will understand everything. I want to appreciate you in a special way that what you are doing is right and everything is fine. I do welcome comments. I do welcome everything. Yeah. God bless you for me.